Recognize that our brains have plasticity and our brains can learn new things. Thank God that that is available to us. So grateful for my brain because it's always up leveling, it's always changing, it's always shifting. I love my brain. And so if my brain can learn a new skill, like I love salsa dancing, I'm always trying to learn new moves. If I can learn new salsa moves, I can learn new beliefs. Yay! Hello, how are you guys doing? What's up? My name is Nat and I am your mindset coach. We are on week 2 of Business Mindset Month. This month I'm doing 4 weeks of weekly mindset teachings on all things mindset related to increasing your earning potential. So if you're a business owner or maybe you are working on up-leveling your career, these weekly teachings are for you. This is week 2. We're talking about shifting limiting beliefs around selling. So shifting limiting beliefs around selling and sales, which a lot of us bring so much ickiness and baggage and heaviness to selling, and shifting them into expansive beliefs around selling. This is a really foundational, really awesome teaching that by the end of the teaching, within the next 10 minutes, you'll have something that you can take with you and start practicing throughout the week. Just a really quick review. Last week we talked about how to increase your earning potential in regards to shifting your beliefs and shifting your views around your value. What value you bring to the table, what different tools and skills you bring to the table in your business and in your career, and how to really lean into them powerfully so that it's exuded in everything that you do in your business. So I'm really excited to dive into today's chat. It's one of my favorites. It's one of the first things that I learned when it came to shifting my mindset so that I can start showing up a little bit more confidently when I sell in my business, and I'm really excited for you to dive in. Cool. Let's go ahead and let's get started. So what exactly is a limiting belief? It's basically a belief that's not serving you. It's something that's going on in here that is not supporting you in what you're doing out here in the external world. Beliefs are really formed from, most people say from the age of 0 to 8 or 0 to 10 is when our brains are sponges. We're picking up different things from the world around us based off of what we were taught by our parents, our caregivers, the different environment that we grew up in, the different schooling system that we grew up in. Based off of the world around us, we formed beliefs around relationships. We formed a specific meaning to different forms of status when it comes to money, different career status, different things about relationship. We've learned different things about health based off of what we saw around us. We also learned different things about money and selling and what a lot of money or a little money means. So as a child, as an infant, our brains are sponges and our brains are picking up from the world around us, and we're making what the world around us means get absorbed into our mind in forms of belief, foundational belief system, foundational perceptions of what we think about the world. We get these from our parents, from our teachers, from TV, from books, and from the world around us. So you can expect that more times than not, your beliefs are subconscious. There's a stat somewhere out there, give or take a couple percentages, that says only 10% of our brain is operating consciously, whereas the other 90% of our brain is operating subconsciously. So consciously, my brain right now is allowing me to do this teaching. Consciously, my brain is allowing me to prepare my next thoughts and my next words. Consciously, my brain is also aware of my surroundings. Consciously, my brain is focusing only 10% on what's going on right now. 90% of my brain is operating subconsciously to keep my heart beating, to keep my lungs functioning, to keep all other parts of my body working. But then also subconsciously, I'm thinking about the matcha that I drank this morning. Subconsciously, I'm also thinking about some of the coaching calls that I have later. I'm thinking about some of the different things that I need to do later this week. Also, deeply subconsciously, my brain is processing things from a couple days ago, months ago, years ago even. There's things happening in the back of my mind that I'm not even consciously aware of, and a lot of my brain is focused on that. And there are different things that we believe in regards to money, in regards to business, in regard to relationships that are still circulating in our mind when we're consciously showing up in selling in our businesses, but we're not necessarily aware of it, but that doesn't mean it's not impacting how we are showing up. So When we think about limiting beliefs, we're also thinking about the things that we've thought for a really long time that have maybe served us up until a point, but maybe there's some things that you think about selling subconsciously that you're not necessarily recognizing consciously that need to be shifted so that you feel a little bit better when you hop on sales calls, when you have conversations with people about how you can help them, when you write your content, when you're marketing yourself. One thing that I do, just as a little side note, I tell this to so many of my clients, but if you haven't seen the Disney movie Inside Out, I strongly recommend it. Inside Out does such an amazing depiction of the inner workings of our mind. And yes, it's a Disney movie. Yes, it's more fun, but for me, it's really helped me grasp the different parts of my brain, the more conscious parts of my brain, and also the depths of my subconscious. Really great movie, strongly recommend it. And if you're doing some of this deep mindset work, that movie, if you're especially very visual like you are me, that movie helps you to really connect how you're shifting, how you're doing that work, and how that's happening in the back of your mind. So just as a little side note, and there's gonna be homework at the end of this video, but if you want additional homework, I'd recommend watching that movie to have a fun perspective on what might be going on in here. Okay, so what are some examples of some limiting beliefs that you might have that aren't serving you with selling? I wrote some down. I'm just going to list them out, but I'd also love to hear what are some limiting beliefs that you have. Feel free to just drop them down in the comments of this video. Some examples of limiting beliefs around money or sales might be believing that people who make a lot of money are greedy. Rich people are a-holes. You can't trust people who make a lot of money. People who make a lot of money are not trustworthy. If someone's trying to sell you something, they're trying to scam you. Selling is sleazy. Now, you're probably not showing up to your sales calls and different sales opportunities in your business consciously thinking these things. You're not saying these things. You're not communicating these things with people, but they're probably in the back of your mind. And if that's what you're thinking, you're probably not feeling your best when you're showing up for sales. But if we change what we're thinking and we change what we believe about money and sales, then we feel differently and then we'll show up differently in sales. So I'm going to teach you how to, I like to call it flip that pancake, to start thinking different things that are different than what you may be believed about money in the past that are going to be more supportive of you moving forward. I've mentioned this before in my videos, but my Mindset Kickstart course goes in depth on bridging that gap between what's going on in here to what's happening out there, from beliefs to feelings and thoughts and actions and results and goals and all of that, linking those and really bridging that gap with figuring out, okay, what's going on in here and how does that link out here? I'll touch a little bit on it in all of my videos, to be honest, but if you really want a foundational teaching on how that directly applies and how you can use it in any aspect of your life, the info for it is down there and I would strongly recommend it. Okay, these limiting beliefs about sales are not serving you. Doesn't feel good. And maybe as I was reading some of them, you were like, ooh, that's me. I didn't realize that, but that's me, because it really resonated. And maybe there's different money beliefs you have around sales or different beliefs that you have around just wealth in general. But this belief is probably holding you back from being successful in sales. This belief or these perspectives around rich people are greedy is holding you back because you're not going to actually allow yourself to be a successful salesperson, to sell your product, to sell your services. You're not going to allow yourself to be successful at that if subconsciously you think that makes you greedy. If subconsciously you think it makes you untrustworthy. If subconsciously you think other people are perceiving you as that, even if you aren't that. You're going to resist allowing yourself to show up confidently, selling something that you really believe in. You're going to resist it being successful if it comes with limiting belief baggage. So, how do we go about shifting limiting beliefs? Well, thank God for brain plasticity. Our brains are constantly changing and evolving. There's a reason why we can relearn, unlearn things. There's a reason why we can change our habits. There's a reason why we're able to grow and get new hobbies and learn new things. Granted, maybe when we're younger, we're able to learn them a little bit more quickly because our brains are even more sponge-like, but that doesn't mean that you can't start thinking and learning and creating new mental habits at any stage of your life, really. So thank God for that, because that's what's going to allow us to shift limiting beliefs. Just like you have a habit of brushing your teeth before bed every night, You also have different mental habits. So just like we change habits like brushing our teeth, biting our nails, we can also change our habits around thinking different things. And because our brains can always change habits, some of them are a little bit more stuck than others, because our brains can change habits, we can also change mental habits. And so a limiting belief is essentially you having a mental habit of thinking something, believing something, perceiving something that isn't allowing you to move forward in the direction that you want. And so you just get to start building a new habit. Now, I will say, just as a side note, sometimes it's a little bit more complicated than that just thinking a different thought. But just getting in the habit of thinking a different thought can really get you far, especially if you're early on in this work. But even if you are more advanced, just getting in the habit of recognizing, okay, this thought, this belief, this perception is not serving me, I'm going to choose a different one, that can be very supportive of you showing up differently in your business. Sometimes just flipping that pancake, choosing a different thought is a little challenging when you have deeper subconscious areas of healing that you need to do. This involves shadow work, inner child work, and when deeply subconsciously we're really holding on to a limiting belief that is a little bit more stuck, that's where maybe one-on-one support or a more in-depth course can support you and making it easier to flip that pancake. But you can still make progress with doing what I'm going to be teaching you within the next couple minutes. Just that, just choosing different thoughts, just recognizing this belief is not serving me. I'm going to think and believe this instead. I'm going to reinforce this. That can actually get you pretty far. But also, there might be other areas of opportunity for feeling a little stuck with it. So I'm here to support you in that if that happens. But we're not going to be talking about that in this video. Okay, so how do we shift limiting beliefs? We recognize that our brains have plasticity and our brains can learn new things. Thank God that is available to us. I'm so grateful for my brain because it's always up-leveling, it's always changing, it's always shifting. I love my brain. And so if my brain can learn a new skill, like I love salsa dancing, I'm always trying to learn new moves. If I can learn new salsa moves, I can learn new beliefs. Yay! Okay, so there's a 3-step process with how to shift limiting beliefs. Step number 1 is I want you to consciously recognize what have you been telling yourself that hasn't been serving you. What is the limiting belief? And if you want to go a little bit deeper, I know that might feel a little vague, ask yourself, what do I actually think about sales, selling, and making money? I'm going to go through these 3 steps. Actually, you know what? I'm going to copy and paste them down in the comments, not in the comments, down in the notes. So they'll be there for you, these 3 steps, in case you need them. But I'll go ahead and put them down there. But step number 1, ask yourself, what are my beliefs around selling right now? What do I think about selling? What do I perceive about selling? What do I really think about sales, selling, and money? Identify that. And if it's things like people who are making a lot of money are greedy, or also ask yourself, what was I taught about money from my parents? That's a big one. I learned a lot about what I was not directly consciously taught, but subconsciously, what did I pick up from my parents without even recognizing? That was pretty insightful. So that's step number 1, identify what do I actually think and believe about sales, selling, and money, and what have I been telling myself that isn't serving me. Little side note, it might not come up right away. You might need to think on it for a few days because we're not used to asking ourselves these questions. Answer to these questions lie very subconsciously more times than not, so it's okay if you don't have an answer right now. Just walk with me through this example. You can always come back to this video if you need. So that's number 1. Number 2, ask yourself, is this really the experience that I want? Is this what I believe is actually true about making money, about selling, about being good at sales? Is this actually what I want to believe? And more times than not, the answer is no. No, that's not what you want to believe. That's not what you want to experience with money. That is not what you want to take with you moving forward. And it's not actually helping you. So that's number 2, identifying that. I know number 2 might feel a little silly. Like, duh, of course I don't want to think that people who make a lot of money are greedy, but that doesn't mean that subconsciously you don't think that. So we have to bring that to up to the conscious. We need to recognize, like, okay, I'm thinking this, it's silly, but I'm still thinking it subconsciously. So I'm bringing it to my conscious. I'm seeing it, I'm identifying it, I'm calling it out, and I'm saying, this is not good. This is not helping me. Which leads us to number 3, I'm going to shift it. What do you desire to be true instead? What's actually going to be helpful? What is the belief, the perception that is going to be more supportive? What is the belief that you want to believe instead? What's the thing that's going to take you closer to your goal? What's going to be the thought? What's going to be the internal dialogue that's more supportive of making more money, of being successful in your business? Think that. Write that down. And while you're at it, write it down on at least 5 sticky notes and put it all over your house so that you see it, so that you remember it, so that you start reinforcing that instead of letting that subconscious belief of people who have a lot of money are greedy, instead of letting that run the show. For homework, I want you to go through this process of identifying what's the limiting belief, what's the thing that's holding you back, having a hot second and saying, is this true? Is this what I want to believe? Is this actually serving me? And the answer is no, it's not helping me. It makes me feel icky. Then flip that pancake and identify, what do I want to believe instead? What is the thing that's going to propel me forward? What is going to be the thing that's launching me forward? And flip that pancake. And flip that pancake as many times as you need throughout this next week. Flip it constantly to reinforce what it is that you want to believe to be true. Because someone somewhere way back in your childhood said it was true simply because that's what their experience was, but that doesn't have to be your truth. That doesn't have to be your experience. You can just flip-flop that pancake, think something else, believe something else, and also believe something that's way more empowering, way more loving, way more supportive, and way more supportive of your goals and where you want to go and the success that you want to have and serve the people that you want to serve. So that's all I got for today. Homework is going to be flip that pancake. Please drop your questions down in the comments. Please check out any additional resources that you feel like you need. The Mindset Kickstart course down there. Also, we have the 5-day mental health reset down there. If you feel like you've gotten really good at shifting your limiting beliefs and you're like, Nat, I really want to dive into some deeper work. I'm ready for one-on-one with you. Info down there. You can check it out and don't forget to subscribe. I always forget where the button is. It's either here, wherever it is. Go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you have access to all of my weekly videos. Next week, we're going on to week 3 with mindset hacks around increasing your earning potential in your business. We're talking about procrastination, perfectionism, and self-sabotage in your business. You won't want to miss it. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace!